Oh, Monza, home of Ferrari, so much history. Why are those men throwing grass into the air? Ferrari strategist training. That explains a lot. Hey guys, I'm Aussie Villain, and welcome back to Kicking Haas. Today it is the Italian Grand Prix, Italy, of course, the home of great strategy decisions, and I'm hopeful this will be a little bit more of a positive race for us than the last one in Zandvoort in Holland, which was a disaster. There's no other way around it. You can see here now, first things first, both of our drivers have a development point, so let's go and do that. No, that's cars, we want drivers. So Logan Sargeant, do we want cornering? I think we saw, didn't we? He just needs to be faster. So we'll do that for him. And let's go and have a look at K-Mag. K-Mag just needs to not lock up. So braking. I mean, he's actually very good. Very good at braking, which doesn't really make sense. It does make... I am wondering if there's something to do with the car. And I'm wondering if brake cooling is maybe an issue. Because I think, actually, while we're talking about it, if we do go and have a look at the car... I don't think our brake cooling is particularly good. It's 19th. It's basically the worst on the grid. So I do wonder if that maybe has a bit of an issue. You know, if that's why particularly K-Mag is locking up so much. If anybody has any information on that, I would obviously be all ears. Now, if we're going to have a look at our staff, do we have anybody here? No, the one question I do have is Gary Gannon. Now, I think we can assume from hearing him on the radio that he is American. There's no nationalities for staff, so are we changing him? There is better engineers available, so yeah, I think we've just got to change him. I think having American drivers is maybe a little bit much of a handicap, and everything else can maybe be changed. I don't know, but let me know what you guys think. This series is as much for you as it is for me. Now, if we go and have a look at our inbox here, we did have a regulation vote. It was to lower the cost cap. I have voted in favor of that because that's going to favor us, and that's how you vote in Formula One, for personal interest. So we'll find out probably next episode if that has gone through or not. We have got a new ATR period. Now, as I've mentioned before, we are moving into basically developing next year's car. So we've got underfloor research, which was already taking place, and we've now gone and done the front wing as well, which isn't actually all four projects. So there you go. There you can see we're doing the front wing as well. When this underfloor is done, there's a part of me that's tempted to do more research on the underfloor because that seems to be so important. But I think what we might do is rear wing, and then we should get another ATR period before the end of the season, and then we can decide what we're doing from there. Side pods as well. We do have new side pods on the car. They weren't quite ready for Zandvoort. There's enough of them ready now that we can put them on the car for Italy. So that'll be our last upgrade of this current season. So hopefully those things, those work nicely for us. If we go back to the inbox, there was one other thing to catch you up on, and that was CFD simulator upgrade complete. So if we go and have a look at that, we now have a level 2 simulator. And again, that's going to help us in developing next year's car as well. So yeah, that is all good news. And that is everything that is to be caught up on off the track. If we go and have a look at what we are doing here on the track, continue, that'll take us to this one. We are expecting a dry weekend. Performance targets. I mean, I always feel like we should be able to reach Q3 with K-Mag. Race targets, fastest lap is not something we're sort of able to do just now. We need a qualifying streak of a car in the top 15 for 2 races, 14, sorry, and we can do the same thing for the points for the actual race finish. We were unlucky a little bit in Zandvoort with that, but anyway. We need to have a look at the circuit, don't we? So we can see the ins and outs of it there. The circuit map for qualifying, you can see the sectors, red, blue, and yellow is 1, 2, and 3. We have sections by speed. It is a fast track with 2 sort of slower traction zones. Car attributes, we can see there, high speed, basically, which I think we rate okay at. Time considerations, it's about 27 seconds for a pit stop. Expected strategies, it's a 1-stop. So, yeah, that is all fairly standard stuff. All right, now we can go to Italy. So there we go, confirmation of the weather for the weekend. I'm going to go do free practice, and I will see you for qualifying. Okay, so welcome back. Qualifying is upon us. Free practice is done. Now, if we have a quick look at the results, we've got a little bit of bad news on the K-Mag front. FP1 was, I mean, we're both on the hard tyres, 14th and 16th. FP2... If we scroll down here, it was 15th and 16th with Sargeant in front. FP3 was a little bit better. Now, K-Mag is the grid penalty there. He is going to be starting at the back. We've taken brand new everything, engine, ERS, and gearbox. Sargeant has also added, we've put a new engine in his car, but he had already taken penalties earlier this season, so he doesn't have to obviously take penalties again. He had it in his pool. So, yeah, it's not ideal, but there is pace in the car, which is decent. It's just going to be a case of K-Mag having to come through the field. So that is all fine. If we go and have a look, you can see a 19th place grid penalty for K-Mag is less than ideal. Now, car setups, we're very close. What we don't have, though, they were both like 4 out of 5 on feedback at the end of FP3. So unfortunately, we're going to miss out on a little bit there. But the setup should be very good. It's just a matter of actually getting, you know, the proper feedback from them. But anyway, let's go do this qualifying run. There we go. There they are. There's Logan Sargeant. K-Mag will follow him out of the pits. And, well, let's see what we can do around Monza. Okay, so we are coming around to start our second run. We are just about going to get there, I think. Yes, we are, with seconds to spare. That's perfectly done. Sargeant, who we're on board with, is currently 14th, only marginally ahead of Zoe and Ricciardo, who's both their teammates, Norris and Bottas, well up there. And I mean, even Magnussen in 11th is not completely safe here, I wouldn't have thought. So slightly more nervous than I was hoping this to be. We are the last 2 cars on track, though. Hopefully, if there's any toe advantage to be had, Magnussen will pick up a little bit off the back of whoever's in front of him, and Sargeant will pick it up off the back of Magnussen, though he looks maybe a little bit too far back. And actually, Magnussen looks a little bit too close to this Williams in front of us. Both of them have done a green first sector, but this is going to be a problem, isn't it? I'm assuming it's Latifi. But yeah, that could be problematic. And he opened his DRS too early there, FIA. I hope someone's watching that. Are we going to be able to do an overtaking qualifying? I mean, that would just ruin both laps. K-Mag hasn't left enough space. So, I mean, both have done green second sectors as well. If we look behind this, Vettel's going faster. But, yeah, I mean, K-Mag's lap has been ruined because he's underestimated how slow he's backed off down the straight. Unbelievable. Hopefully this isn't going to cost us. Is there a way? There's no way of seeing who that is it? We don't need to refuel. We're going to same thing's going to happen here to Sargeant. But K-Mag, I mean, he's gone slower. Sargeant has gone up 1. So we're both through, which is the main thing, I suppose. So Verstappen is fastest in the session, and we can only assume it was Latifi. But, I mean, how slow is the Williams? No doubt we're not going to be coming last in this one. Okay, so after the first run, both cars on a used set of tyres. Sargeant is 12th, Magnussen is 10th. Now, the danger here, Sainz and Ocon, who have both done unrepresentative lap times. So, I mean, ideally, we actually probably want Sargeant to be the faster car here because he doesn't have penalties, whereas obviously K-Mag does. We weren't able to get, so I sort of messed up. I panicked a little bit trying to get the cars out in time. So Sargeant's actually sort of mid-pack. K-Mag is at the back though, so he will hopefully get a draft, which it doesn't look like Sargeant's going to get. He has got a green first sector though. It's Magnussen. He's got hopefully a decent gap, though there's no Williams in this session, so it looks like a McLaren in front, so we should be fine. But they've both done green first sectors. Now, if we look behind us, Ocon and Sainz are both going faster, as you'd expect. Guan Yu Zhou as well. I mean, Bottas is his teammate. You'd expect him to go faster. So it's not looking great for us to progress into Q3. Though it doesn't really matter for Magnussen because 19 grid places he's going to be dropping down anyway. The Aston Martins both had penalties. We're already ahead of them on the grid, and I think it was Perez and maybe one of the Ferraris as well. But Ocon has jumped up. I'm expecting Sainz to do the same. So we're currently sitting 12th and now 14th as Zoe gets ahead of Sargeant. Can Sargeant leapfrogging back? And he has. So P13 for Sargeant. Let's see what K-Mag can do. He's currently P12. No, he's P13, and he is going to get P12. So both cars are out. So slightly disappointing. We'll be starting, well, Magnussen won't be starting 12th. Sargeant will probably be 13th at a minimum. You can see here that Perez has a penalty, and I thought there was somebody else. No, just Perez and the 2 Aston Martins. So there we go. Qualifying is done. And we will now get ready for the race. Now, it is very much a one-stop race, this one. The question is, do we go mediums onto soft? Or do we do softs onto mediums? Although it's... I think I'd rather be fast at the end. When everybody else is sort of, you know, their tyres are fading, I think I'd rather be faster then. What we might do is push it, though, maybe another lap, just so we got a little bit of extra pace at the end there. So that's Sargeant's strategy done. I didn't see where Magnussen was starting, but I'm assuming we're going to want to do a similar sort of thing here, aren't we? So we'll push that back a lap. And even though it says they're both coming in the same lap, I suspect 12th and 19th starting, they probably won't be together on track, and if they are, we'll just deal with it at the time. So first lap, of course, we want to go heavy on the ERS to try and make up as many positions as possible. And of course, Monza's going to be a DRS train, isn't it? It's going to be almost impossible to break away. So we've got to get as far up as we can in those first few laps. All right, I'll see you ready for the race. All right, and here we go. Once again, it's a Red Bull Ferrari front row. And, well, let's see what we can do. Are we going to be able to manage some points here? Let's have a look what tyres everybody is on. So a couple have gone with the softs to start, but looks as though the majority have seen things the same way I have. Get the soft tyres on at the end. Let's see what Sargeant can do. He stuck one up the inside of Norris. Can he hold that position? Norris, I think, was on the soft tyre, wasn't he? He's done very well not to lose his front wing there. So it looks as though he's going to stay. Oh, there's a car on the outside, is there? Sonoda is come from nowhere. 3 wide we were there. Magnussen is currently in 19th. He needs to get past those Williams as fast as possible. And let's see. We'll stay on board here with Sargeant. He is the front car right now. And what we need to do is see off Sonoda with the inside of this these two Lesmos here. Can we get it done? He's trying to pinch us in. But we should get that done now. Show him some curve. There you go, Logan. Well done, mate. And that is P11 for Logan Sargeant. Let's have a quick check-in on Magnussen. He is right up the gearbox of a Williams, not for the first time this weekend. Can he get that move on Latifi done? You'd like to think so. And he does. It's very, very important, actually, that he gets the Williams and Stroll as soon as possible. Because, like I say, DRS trains are going to be very, very difficult to break free of.
That's one.
And, well, we want to make sure we're on the back of the fastest DRS train we can find when DRS opens up. So he should be able to make pretty quick work of Albon down this front straight. Hopefully then catch up to the back of Stroll and then Ricciardo in front of him. So it's P11 for Sargeant. And he is in track position-wise a decent place here. The question always with Sargeant is he going to have the pace to go with these front guys? He does have Perez behind him as well, who you would imagine.
Good job.
And Magnussen did get Albon down that front straight. Yeah, you would imagine we've got a spinner there. Who is that? Someone's locked up and gone straight on. It is not. It's not safety car, is it? Oh, it's blocked. The track is blocked. What has happened there? It looks like a Mercedes is missing a rear wing, and was
safety car.
It's too early, isn't it? There's no point pitting here. It is actually a red flag. Well, I think this is the first time we've had a red flag, isn't it? Hamilton is going to be out. He's got the penalty and somebody else is out. What's happened there? Oh, was it Mercedes on Mercedes? Was it Mercedes on Mercedes? Oh, and it's taken out Bottas as well. Now, that's not a bad result for us in terms of the Constructors' Championship. So Russell is out. Hamilton, so it was Mercedes on Mercedes, and then I'm assuming Bottas was the other one. Now, we've got 10 minutes to restart. 10th and 16th on the track. I don't think we want to change, do we? It's too early. I mean, it's too early in the race to change anything. So we'll just send them back out there. But yeah, on the tyres they were on, and we just kind of go again as we were. But Sargeant 10th. Now Russell is out, so that'll move him up to 9th. We will start again from a standing start. And let's hope we can go. And I don't know if our batteries would have recharged or not. No, it doesn't look like they have. And we've just sat on the grid. What has happened there? There's a Williams gone past us. Oh no, what has happened to Sargeant off the start? He's back to 13th. Stroll and Albon have got absolutely lightning starts. And our side of the grid just sat still. So look at that, Tsunoda is in 7th. That is a disaster. Now, did anybody else change tyres? Everybody else has gone onto the hard. So that doesn't even make sense as to why we were so slow. We must have got someone in front of us must have got a bad start. We would have both been starting on the same side of the grid. I wonder if everybody on that one side just went backwards. Now, if they're all on the hard tyre, that's not going to go to the end. There's no way. Is it? I mean, maybe it can. But they're going to be hanging on, aren't they? I mean, the medium's hanging on. There's no way that that hard tyre is going to the end. How used are these guys' tyres? I wonder how much of this is them sort of having to save hard tyres to get to the end. Now, of course, it's still a long, long way to go here. The issue is that the time loss for a pit stop, isn't it? We're going to be a long last, but I just don't see how they're going to get those tyres to the end. Another crash. And now, if this is a safety car, Hamilton overtakes Magnussen. That's not what we're interested in. What we're interested in is this going to be a safety car? And it is.
Safety car, safety car.
And you could have told me that before we literally just went past the pit lane. So now I think we could concede. I mean, they say a hard tyre can do 66 laps. But now I think is a time to come in and gamble, because this could actually make a difference now. We could get to the end. Crash with... Oh, I missed it. With multiple cars. So if Verstappen's got a penalty and Sainz is out, so it's at the front of the field. Are we going to see it? No, it doesn't look like we are. Okay, so is anybody else pitting? I mean, it doesn't make sense for anybody else to pit now because they're already on the hard tyre, and that's the only tyre that's going to get you to the end. So we're going to be double stacking, which isn't ideal, especially because of how slow we are. Now, this is going to drop us to the back. But we don't have to stop again now. Everybody else is surely going to have to. Surely they can't go to the end. So let's see here. So Sargeant is out. Magnussen. Sargeant, is he going to get out in front of Ricciardo? If he gets out, 14th. Hamilton, of course, is going to have a time penalty, and I think Verstappen would have just done it under the pit stop there, wouldn't he? So, safety car in this lap. Now, just looking at the tyres, we can get to the end, and we can push a little bit. I'm still not convinced everybody else is going to be able to, though. We will wait to push on the tyres until later on in the race. But, yeah, 14th and 16th, lap 20 we have just started. This could be an interesting race from here. We've got the fresher tyres, and we don't need to stop again. As everybody crawls around in very polite fashion. And, well, there we go. Let's get ourselves to this off-board thing and see how we go. If Magnussen can get Vettel sooner rather than later, that would be good. Of course, no DRS as of yet. And he has. Magnussen did get him at the end of the straight. So that is a good move. Let's have another look at it.
All eyes on Kevin Magnussen here.
Relatively straightforward. Doesn't lock up. And gets it done on acceleration. That's going to be partly down to just fresher tyres.
DRS enabled.
Which is excellent. So DRS is enabled now. Sargeant is at the front of his queue. Sargeant might need to deploy a little bit here and try and kick clear, and Magnussen is just behind him. Can Magnussen get a move done here? Go on, K-Mag. Go on, send it in, mate. He's got one. Can we deploy and try and get a second? No, he's lost out again to Ricciardo. Stroll has been dropped, so that's good.
That's P14.
We've got Sargeant clear of that train, so hopefully he can push on now. And if we can get Magnussen behind him, that would be even better. And we've got lots and lots of petrol to burn. I'm assuming everybody else will be in a similar situation on that front. But we should have DRS coming out down this straight as well, which is, we haven't overtaken him too early. That's a perfect overtake from K-Mag. And I wouldn't even mind if we can slingshot each other down the straights here. It's 3 seconds, the gap ahead of Sargeant. What we need to do is get K-Mag out of the second and into the second of Sargeant, which it looks like he has just done. And it is formation flying from Haas right now, but outside the points. So we get both of them in front of Guan Yu Zhou. Not quite. The key thing, though, is we are losing out a little bit of time here to Tsunoda while we're battling away amongst ourselves. But he is definitely in a train of cars, and oh, Sargeant has spun. Logan, you weren't supposed to do that. He's lit it up out of the second chicane, hasn't he?
Let's take a look at the replay. Now,
He's in a really good spot and just lights it up. And, well, he hasn't dropped a position, but he has definitely dropped time, hasn't he? A long, long way down. And, well, I think we have to turn our attention to K-Mag now and see what he can do for the rest of the race. How they were going to get to the end. Now, Leclerc is behind us. I didn't notice that. Oh, he spun. Okay, so that's put him behind us. So Magnussen is now 10th. But that might be a blessing in disguise, you know. I'm assuming Leclerc will catch and pass us. But if we can stay in his DRS, he could take us up to the back of... well, he could take us all the way to the front in theory. But I don't think he has enough laps to do that. Norris, unfortunately, having a good race for McLaren in 6th. Bottas in 4th as well. Alonso in 3rd. Now, it was Alpha Tauri, wasn't it, who got both cars in front of us, and Alfa Romeo that we were battling in the constructors. So, ideally, let's have a look at tyre life here with laps to go. So, we, I think, are probably in a position now to start pushing on our tyres a little bit. And let's hope that we can really start to close down this gap. It looks visually as though we're catching on the two in front. It's down to 2 seconds. So Magnussen should be able to make fairly easy work of these Alpha Tauris. So certainly based off what we're seeing right now and how quick he's catching them. He's almost within DRS range. And actually, if this goes on next lap, he should just about be there. And he is. So let's jump on board here. He's just outside still. Our excess petrol is down to 0.6. Are we going to get DRS this lap? He's holding Leclerc at his 3-second gap. I wonder if we can even attack a little bit more on the tyres. Probably could, you know. Sargeant, I don't think we could, but I think K-Mag can really have a go at this. And let's deploy as well. Let's try and get to within that second so we have DRS.
Mode push.
Copy that.
Come on, K-Mag. He's within the second now. So we should have DRS when we get to the next zone, which is, of course, after the second Lesmo down this back straight here. So we are there. Let's not waste ERS, I should say. The wear line is still looking good to get to the end. And after Gasly, there's a 6-second gap in front, so we might struggle to get that done. But certainly P8 from the back of the grid for K-Mag would not be a disaster. Can we get these Alpha Tauris though, and can we get them before Leclerc catches? Which, to be honest, I mean, Leclerc's not really catching. He's roughly the same distance away that he was. Come on, K-Mag. Let's see, good exit. DRS down the straight. We don't have much ERS. We sort of use that up trying to catch them as quick as possible. And, well, can we get this down the straight? Can we get it down the straight? Can we do a double overtake of the AlphaTauris? Gasly just moving it across ever so slightly. Down the outside goes K-Mag. He doesn't lock it up. Can he get a double overtake done? He's squeezed like Hamilton and Verstappen, and he has moved in front of both of them. And that is a magnificent overtake from K-Mag. All right, well, what's last lap times looking like? He's a second or so faster than Ocon. He's got 7 seconds to make up in 6 laps. Could he do that? I mean, he could go close. It's a massive ask, and to be honest, I'm almost tempted to just tell him to back off and don't send it off into the fence, but maybe we need to be a little bit more concerned about the AlphaTauris getting back past us. As there's a spin in Sector 2, and we've moved up to... Oh, no, we were in 8th anyway, weren't we? Alonso is locked up, so he is still 3rd, but a little bit closer, and Bottas has run wide. The issue we have is again, it's almost impossible to break free of DRS. Gasly is coming with us. We've dropped Tsunoda. Oh, who's run wide? Magnussen's run wide. Oh, I shouldn't have been pushing him on so much. I feel like that is partially my fault.
It's not over for us.
It's not over for us, K-Mag. We can go and get that position back, and then I think we settle. We settle for P8. But we can definitely get that back.
Mode push.
Copy that.
We might just back off the tyres a little bit to make sure we get them to the end. Sargeant sitting there in 12th. Good race from Sargeant. I mean, he started 12th, I think, didn't he? But he started with some pretty quick guys behind him.
Lifting coast, please.
Copy, copy.
We are within DRS. We've got 3 laps to undo the damage of that mistake from K-Mag. And it was ambitious. I mean, I was basically telling him to do qualifying laps. You can only... you know, he's human. At some point, when you're pushing absolutely flat out, there is a chance you can make that mistake. So, I will take some of the blame for that. What we might do... Let's try and harvest...
Charge on, please.
Copy.
While we're sitting behind here, and then once we get the overtake done, what I think we can do then is deploy and try and break free. I wonder what the fastest lap of the race is as well. Verstappen has it. I think he was on a medium tire at some point. Now, if we can get an overtake done while we're in harvest, that would be special, and we are going to do that. So that is very, very nice indeed. I think we'll keep harvesting because we've seen there that we can fairly comfortably get past him. Our tyre life is only now sort of roughly what everybody else's is. So I suspect Gasly's going to come back past us here, but there's still 2 laps to go.
2 laps remaining.
And we should get a nice bunch of recharge from the first chicane. And he hasn't come past us yet. So even with harvesting, he's not been able to get past us. So that tells you roughly how their tyres are going, doesn't it? And Sargeant is locked up now into the first chicane. I mean, there's no one around. Come on, Logan. Alright, let's go back to K-Mag. It's not cost him anything. He's got 8 seconds in front, 8 seconds behind now, but it's just all a little bit silly, really. Alright, so we've probably got enough to deploy for the last lap and a half. So let's go and do that.
Copy.
How close is he behind? He is right there. Tsunoda is right there as well. But we should have a tyre advantage, and we should have enough, as I say, to deploy for the last little bit of the lap here. Because you always get a nice, juicy recharge into turn 1. And of course, if we don't manage to stay in front, then what we can do is we should be able to get him back DRS down the front straight. Let's have a look. Let's go off board so we can see if he's coming. Come on, K-Mag. Come on, K-Mag. You've got this, mate. You've got this. I think you've got this. Has he got this? He's got the inside line. There's our nice little ERS recharge. Boot it into... another driver's locked up. Okay, so it's not Sargeant that's locked up. Alright, let's save a little bit.
Sounds like someone's locked up.
And it's Latifi that's locked up. If we can give it a nice little boot of ERS coming out of this final Lesmo. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. Alright, let's see. We've got a decent gap there. That's a decent gap. Leclerc has run wide. That doesn't really affect us. And I think we've got a big enough gap here. No, they're coming at us very, very quickly. But Magnussen's taking a nice defensive line. And that should be okay. Show him the curb. There we go. We are now out of ERS. This is a lot closer than ideally I would have liked it to be, as I'm clicking randomly on things.
Let's cross the line first.
Are we going to be able to hang on? He's looking at the inside. K-Mag does hang on. And it is going to be, I think, P8 for K-Mag from the very, very back of the grid. Wonderful, wonderful race from Kevin Magnussen.
Yeah.
Well done, mate. That is huge.
Right, mate.
And head of both AlphaTauris as well, who are the team behind us in the championship. And Logan Sargeant, it's a creditable 12th.
Okay, checkered flag, checkered flag.
So there we go. How far were we off taking advantage of Hamilton's penalty? Not even close, to be honest. So he moves up 11 places to 8th. He gets 4 points in the Constructors. Perez wins from Verstappen and Alonso on the podium. And Bottas is 4th. Almost, it does actually kill any chance I think we had of being able... to go and catch them in the championship. So Alonso goes ahead of Magnussen, but when you come third, it's difficult to argue he doesn't deserve that. And there we go there. So we are 21 points behind Alfa Romeo. We are 20 points ahead of AlphaTauri. We're going to come 6th this year, aren't we? Which is absolutely fine. But there we go. If you've enjoyed that, make sure you hit thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. We'll be back next time. I think the next race is Singapore. Anything can happen at Singapore, can't it? So... who knows? We could find ourselves on the podium, or we could find ourselves in the fence. We'll find out next time. Take care.